Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. It's part of the Did You Know webinar series from Sistel. We are fortunate today to have Chris Stiles delivering the new remote office. Chris is a senior salesperson for Kofax, which provides a multitude of different tools that enables devices, MFPs, to capture, send, and route files to multiple locations simultaneously. Through the course of the event, there is at the bottom of your screen a Q&A call out. If you have a question, I'm going to monitor questions for Chris, and as we progress through this, we will answer questions as they come up. So Chris, I'm going to hand it off to you now. Thank you very much for your participation, and we look forward to it.
Great, Dwayne, I appreciate it. Just make sure, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Awesome. Well, we'll get started, but hey, thank you for taking your time out this afternoon to share a little bit of time with us as we're going to talk about the new remote office and really what does that mean as we, go back to the office or as we're in the office, or maybe we're going to stay at the home office, and how do we continue to keep information secure through this, new change as we look at it. So quick agenda, I want to look a little bit at the market challenges, what's going on today opposed to a few months ago as far as what the digital transformation looks like. Then we'll kind of go through a little bit around what does the new office or the new remote office look like in the realm of being able to print securely, being able to control content, and also be able to scan whether you're at the home office or at the office. All of this is put in place by a product platform from Kofax called ControlSuite. And we can talk more about that as we go through it. And I will show you ControlSuite as I do a couple of demos toward the end of the presentation. That's going to kind of highlight some of the items that we talk about as we go through. So with that, just to let you know, I do not have a lot of slides to go through, so we can kind of relax a little bit on that and really just have a conversation around information and how that's going to flow both today and tomorrow. So, looking at the market today and how things are coming in place, we've been in the middle of this digital era, right, of the digital transformation. It's an era that requires really a new way of working, securing and governing content as organizations, now process through their digital transformation and their changes of even to the remote office. How do I continue to work in a digital form is now more heightened than it was previously when everyone was in an office. So we just need to make sure that we're continuing to drive through that. But as we do that, there's still three items and three areas we need to pay attention to. One is to ensure that we're still in compliance and we're putting the security risk at a minimal. So whatever we're doing, whether you're taking computers home, whether you're doing at a remote site, whatever the case may be, we need to make sure we are continuing to flow through that compliance and security components, making those top level. The second area is dealing with our mobile workforce. Today, mobility is a huge factor in changing the way that we work and how we capture and bring content into our organization. So we'll look at a little bit of mobile activity for there. And then finally, really, in order for organizations to move into the digital age and in this transformation, they must transform historical paper-driven manual processes into a digitally automated workflow. That's going to improve efficiencies as we go through that. So that's kind of the market challenges and pressures that we're looking at. Now, how do we go about doing this? And as we start looking at one ControlSuite and how it can help with these three areas, it's designed to mitigate loss of productivity. Again, whether you're at the office or if you're at the home office, providing the same workflows that are tailored to the remote worker as well as the office worker. So three of these areas that we'll talk about today. One is, let's reduce exposure. And what do we mean by that is touchless printing. There's a stat that's out that talks about the start button on a MFP device that's there. It has 4 times more germs than your pet's dog food bowl. Kind of a weird analogy there, but that was one of the stats that was put out. So how do we control that other than continuing to clean and do the typical pieces that we're doing with COVID now? How can we do this with touchless printing? The second one is remote workers, those that are working from home that, you've now seen a benefit of maybe we can get more done by staying home, or it works with, we're trying to deal with our children going back to school. How do we keep up? But I can't miss work, so I want to be able to do as much as I can at the remote office at home. So really, the workflow that I was doing at the office, we can convert that to your home office. We'll walk through a couple of those. And then lastly that we'll talk about is secure printing in the new normal. And secure printing, when you get into, at the office, you had a complete security around who could print and being able to go grab the printer, make sure it's not falling in someone else's hand, get mixed up with another document that's been printed. But now we're going to take it a step further, and we're going to take it to the home office where, we're not worried about who else is going to see it. It's a matter of me getting it, but should I print that document? So we'll walk through those. The first one, go back to touchless printing. Touchless printing really is not a lot new to our organization as far as the product that we use with ControlSuite. It's giving you the ability of doing a secure print release. So today, with mitigating that risk of the virus transmission of touching things, you can do your standard print that you normally would, and based off of the ControlSuite application, can monitor that print job that's coming from your workstation, and it'll hold it in a secure print queue. And whatever device you walk up to, you could take your badge. If you have a badge, if you don't have a badge, we've got an app that you can put on your mobile phone. And because you're authenticating, you can swipe your badge or use your mobile device to release the documents that are there. So no more printing, going and getting it. And, we still want to make sure that we're upholding the secure print portion of it's in the right place, and I'm not, having it confused or being mixed up with other printed documents, as well as the follow you print. The follow you print really even takes on a different role today, because even with going back and the space requirements that we're needing to follow, you may not be in the same area that you used to work in. So I may be printing to a different device. Well, instead of having IT having to remap that, now it's just a matter of just print. Walk to any device you want to, swipe your badge, and your documents release. You pick those up and you go back to your workstation and continue your day. So that's the way we can, one, keep security intact, give flexibility to the end user as far as follow you printing, being able to track that wherever I am, and being able to release those documents at the device I'm at, and also being able to provide that a mobile application, whether I'm printing from a mobile device or releasing from a mobile device, I have that intact as well. Now, moving from printing into workflow, and workflow for a little definition around workflow, it's just basically how do I get a process from start to finish, and what's in the middle of it. For example, if there's an approval process that needs to take place where I have an invoice, and I know that I normally take that invoice, I scan it to my AP department, AP opens it up, looks at it, they validate it, it's been approved, they enter it in the system, and we can move on. Well, today, being not in the office, how can I make that process still work? But now let's maybe make it electronic as we go through that. So we can convert that from a paper-based to a complete electronic-based. So as that invoice that we talked about that's being submitted, that we were routing across, now we can still monitor that and route that to a same email address, except I can have processes in place to be able to grab that email electronically, look at the document that's on it, be able to take information on the document, process that into what do I need to do next. It's an invoice, it's for XYZ company, here's the amount, here's the approval that needs to be put up and applied to that. Once it's approved, then I can go ahead and release that for payment or be able to send that back. So a lot of ways that we can now control. Previously, for an approval, you would need to have, someone a signature or stamp the document that it's been reviewed, it's been approved, and now it's ready to be paid. Now we can convert all that to an electronic process of digital signatures, converting those documents, routing the documents where they need to go. Again, integration for automated workflow to be able to control that. And again, empowering back to the mobile devices. Now that we're at home, these are really a key component for a lot of remote workers is the mobile devices. Be a part of a workflow and use that as we go through. We'll actually see a workflow with a mobile device. A lot of home offices today may have a printer, but they may not have a scanner, or that scanner is not integrated into a workflow. So how can we transform the camera on our mobile device to be a scanner for us? We'll kind of walk through that, how we can do some conversions and press that through. Now, looking at secure printing. Secure printing is one step further than being able to print the document and releasing it based off of who I am. I want to take that one step further, and by doing that, if you look at the logo or the pictures on the right side here, apologize for one being a little bit blurry, but a credit card statement, for instance. This statement's being printed. On that, right above the arrow, I kind of blew these two small up a little bit. It does have the credit card information and the amount being paid. Well, what I'm doing is maybe there's information that's here. I don't necessarily want that information printed. By working from home, I'm not real concerned about if someone else is going to see this document, but I may be more concerned about, am I going to reuse that piece of paper to maybe take notes on or to maybe write on, and then when I finish with it, I can just discard it. Well, if I'm not properly discarding that document, now there's information on that page, which could be a security risk if it did get out into a recycling bin and someone actually happened to pick that up. So the way we're able to do this with ControlSuite platform that's running, we're able to look at content and be able to make decisions based on information that's being printed. So not only why is it being printed, when is it being printed, and who is printing it, but most importantly, what is being printed. So in this scenario where I'm printing the credit card information, I'm listing all of the credit card number that's there. But what I want to do when I print that document, I actually want to redact those numbers out, but just show the last four. That's going to be put in place. So this is an example of an invoice. This could be the same with a, if you're dealing with patient information, if you're in the medical field, there's patient information that can't be disclosed. Based off of who you are and your security profile, we can tie that together to say you can or can't print certain information. We can also redact out social security number, email addresses. In the financial world, you can start redacting out account information. So you can still print the information that you need, but we can control the content that's being printed, so only the information that you have access to is being printed. So that's kind of getting into secure printing in the new normal office. Now, how do you take that home and go through with that? So here's a few homework challenges, if you will, as we go through it. So a lot of organizations today, they're moving to the mobile workforce, but I still need to continue with my reporting levels as if I'm in the office. So what am I printing? How am I printing it? Back in the office, you may have been departmentalized, and that may be the way that you're being charged for that device that you're printing to. We still want to make sure that we're keeping track of that, but not only for that, but maybe at home, you may be reimbursed for the print that you're doing through work. This is a great way to be able to track that and be able to reimburse for the information and the paper usage and toner and so forth that you're using on a device at home if it's not corporate supplied. It also gives you the ability of, or the questions are around who's printing what information at home. When you get into some of the IT side, when you plug in a USB printer, there's a lot of reporting that stops because I need it to be on the network. I need it to be monitored through the print servers, and that's not happening anymore. So we need to make sure that we're still being able to track that. That ties back into compliancy. As we talked about in the beginning, I need to make sure that I'm staying in compliance with my governance and security pieces that are put in place. So how do we address that? As we start looking at ability to look and still give functionality and still give the end user the ability to do their job, but also from a security standpoint, making sure they stay intact. We do that with the ControlSuite Workstation client. So there's a client that can be loaded on a workstation. It can be a remote push out to the workstation. And then from that point, it can track and report on everything that happens through that workstation. So if I'm printing to a USB device, I can still put the same level of security on that USB device as that I could from a corporate device that I was printing to in the office. It's going to give me my same reporting delivery. It's going to give me an audit trail that's there, whether I'm from the home office or from the office if I'm maybe working a couple of days in both. As I start bouncing back and forth as the lift starts going and people get more comfortable with going back to the office. Then we also have the security piece to deny home printing if need be. If there's information that someone's trying to print, whether that's a price list that maybe we don't want printed, or maybe that's sales information that we don't want printed. Maybe it's government or it's corporate information that is specific to a certain project. Whatever that case may be that you're working on, gives us the ability of controlling what information is printed and not printed. So as we start looking at that, it's going to give the ability to cost recovery. It's going to be able to prevent the patient information or your private information from being printed from a sensitive corporate information side. It's just going to give you that complete control, even when you don't, basically own that device. You still own the content that's being printed, and you want to make sure that you're keeping that as intact as possible. So now, that's really all the slides I have. I want to kind of jump into a little bit of a demo now, and I want to show you a couple of workflows so you'll understand the demo as we go through them and as I begin to set up for this demo. So one of the demos that I'm going to share with is a scanning workflow. So we have an application. It's Kofax Power PDF. It's a desktop application. It's a PDF tool, very similar to Adobe Professional. That's there. It's going to give me the ability of merging PDF files together, converting documents. I can convert from PDF back to an Office format. If I need a Word or Excel spreadsheet created, I can do that from the application. But it also gives the ability of integration into a workflow. And by doing ControlSuite with the Power PDF application, I'll be able to send documents as we show here 1, 2, and 3. One, I have an invoice that's there, and I'm going to send that to the ZenCube structure. From there, I'm going to be able to pick up the information that the document needs to be stored by, and then I'm going to store that into a repository. Here we're showing a product called DocuWare, which is a document management system. I'll also show you SharePoint, and we'll also show a network folder. Maybe the structure that you do today, you have a document management system already, or maybe you're looking for one that needs to be very accessible. So when I get documents scanned into a system, I can have some approval processes put in place. I can have notifications put in place. So we'll show you a little bit of that workflow and how that'll work. Then the second demo that we'll show is around mobility. This workflow is going to be from a logistics standpoint. I'm a driver and I'm going to be delivering a product and having the ability of scanning a barcode that's going to be on my delivery ticket, and it'll tell me who I'm delivering it to. It'll tell me the address, and then I'll be able to do that lookups, and then we're going to track some geotagging. So where am I as far as when that document or when was that product or when was that delivery dropped? Where was I at that time? So you're able to pull that in. And then one other that I don't have a picture for, but I want to show how we can utilize this camera on our mobile devices to scan a document and convert that back to an Office application. to go through that. So if you will, bear with me just for a moment while I change screens and get into my demo. All right, so what we see here is this is the Power PDF application that I'm using. So this product here is going to give me obviously the ability of uh, opening PDF files for one. From here, I can do a document assembly. If I had multiple documents, I could rearrange documents. I could remove pages. I could add pages to the document as needed and saw fit for that. Also have the ability here just very quickly to convert. So I could take this document, I can convert it to Word just by clicking on Word, or Excel if it was a spreadsheet. PowerPoint, I can make this PDF file searchable just by a click of a button. Also has the ability of editing text. So I could click edit text, and anywhere in this form, I could now just kind of type and put text wherever I needed it as it went through. So it gives me the ability of cleaning up a document. Maybe there was some numbers that were wrong, or maybe the address was incorrect. So it gives me the ability of altering a PDF file to be able to control and see what goes forward through that. Also built into it is security. And security, when documents come in, I have the ability of making redactions on the document. So if there's a social security number, a credit card number, an email address, something that similar to whatever, I don't want that document to be visible, I can have that document be redacted. A little bit different than the way we do a print. This actually would go through and put a black mark over it, or a white mark if you wanted to clean the image. So you have that ability to clean the image up as we go through. And then I have the ability of signing the document. So I can do handwrite signatures. I have the ability of doing date timestamps. I can also integrate with DocuSign. So if you're using a digital signature application, this actually direct links into DocuSign for the ability to create that. And the last piece I'll show you is forms. So in today's world, when we start looking at trying to get a fillable form, and I need to, I've got a template that's on a website, and it's an application that I need to fill out. When I download that application, I'm either going to have to print it or use an application like Power PDF to actually add text to that. You can actually just use Form Typer. Form Typer would basically run through the document and make all those fields where you can tab through them and type in information in there for you. So just real quick, a little bit of what Power PDF can do for the remote workers and even the office workers that needs a great PDF tool application. Now for the workflow to go through, so this is an invoice obviously that I've received. I want to actually put some stamps on this. So I've got my stamps. The document's been received and it's actually been reviewed. So I'm gonna go ahead and just place reviewed here. So it was reviewed by me because it's looking at authentication of who I'm logged in as, the date and the time. So that now has been stamped to that. So as we start moving this document along, I can do whatever I need to with it. So you've got multiple different stamps that we can put in place. You can also create your own as we go through with those. Now, from here, I could still do a lot of different things with it. We've got integrated uh, box applications that we can store it to. But what I want to show you is the ControlSuite integration from this point. So ControlSuite integration is right here at the bottom, and we use a product inside of ControlSuite called AutoStore. When I click on AutoStore and I drop down, these are workflows that I have. So as this one, I'm in the AP department, I'm working there. I notice this is from ZenCube. So I have an invoice for ZenCube. So I can look at that and say, okay, this is what I need it to be. Now, what if, this invoice was someone other than ZenCube? It's just a matter, this just happens to be a workflow that we created. These can be whatever you need them to be, and I'll also show you one that's just that's plain as we go through. But ZenCube, so I'm going to double click on ZenCube. It's going to open up a window, and basically on this window, the only option I have here is the submit button. So what I'm going to do when I click submit, kind of walk you through the workflow real quick. Go ahead and click submit. That document has now been captured and it's being sent through a workflow process. And I'll tell you what's going to happen. So over on the right side, I've got this folder that's sitting here. In just a few minutes, you're going to see a folder appear that's going to have a document inside of here. So I'm sending a document directly to a network folder. It's going to be named based off of information that I deem to be it called by. We can name it however you want it to be. I'm going to be pulling information. I'm going to pull the bill to. I'm going to pull the order number. I'm going to pull the dates and the amounts and different things. So there's the document that just showed up. So J. Cabela's 26130. So there's the J that it pulled, who it was going to, what's the company name, and then there's the order number that that document was received by. So that's sending it very quickly into a network folder. So what I also want to show you is, let's say this is a document that came over that, you know, I didn't have the ability of pulling information off. I just want to manually enter it. So what I'm going to do is just take the PO number, be today's date, 071320, customer name, Sistel customer number, and today's date. I'll just use that again. So now I've input information, and this can be whatever information you want it to be. And I'm going to click submit on this one. Now what you're going to notice on this one, this is going to come to the same network folder. This one's going to be laid out a little bit differently, just kind of showing you some of the features of the way we can start storing documents outside of a document management system. I'm going to show you a document management system as soon as this one comes over. But this is ability to go through and show that. I'm watching my program run, so it's almost finished with this one, so it'll be done in just a second. Now, as that comes over, let me go to my Internet Explorer, and I want to show you a SharePoint site. So this is SharePoint. There's the same document that I just sent in. Said it came in about a minute ago. We pulled the amount, we pulled the date, we pulled the salesperson, the order number, invoice number, name. We pulled everything out as that document was scanned. So whether I'm working from home, whether I'm working in the office, whether I'm scanning it from your MFP that's sitting there provided by Sistel, whether you're using that application, maybe you needed uh, a, a dedicated scanner to drive that with. Maybe I'm using my smartphone or my mobile device to be able to send that document in, or maybe I'm grabbing it out of email. Multiple ways that we can grab information, process that information, and store it. So that's the SharePoint portion. Now, inside of DocuWare, another application with Sistel that's there, you have the ability of pulling these documents in. So if I come in and do a search real quick, there's my J. Cabela's that was brought in, the date, so all that information now is stored as well. So with one workflow, I was able to send that document into 3 different places just by a click of a button. So to the end user, the only thing I did is I told that was a Zen invoice and I hit submit. The system on the back end does all the work, extrapolates all the information based off of the page, and stores it into the correct location wherever that needed to be stored into. All right, so hopefully that went through. Let me see, go through. So now let me close this one down. And I want to show you one other piece that's here. See if I can close that, get my screen to move. There we go. Now, the one I want to show you now is the mobile application. And I'm going to be connecting my mobile phone up to my computer here just a second. Give me just 1 second. I'm using a product called Reflector to be able to mirror my iPhone for us. So it takes just a second to open. And as we go through that process, get that to open. So I want to show you a little bit of what we're going to be doing. This is the workflow that we'll be using. So here's the scanning that we took place. So we're going to be running through and providing the barcode. I'm going to be scanning a barcode. It's going to do a database lookup, and we'll be able to show a form overlay, and it'll be put back in place. So looks like my screen is coming up now. Apologize for that delay. All right, I'm going to minimize this and just bring my phone over. So there's my iPhone that I'm using. So the product I'm going to use, again, part of the control suite is called Business Connect, and that Business Connect is located here. It's an app that you can download, whether an iOS or an Android device. You can bring that down. So I'm going to go ahead and select Business Connect, have that log in. So now I am logged into the system. So if you notice down at the bottom, it tells me I'm logged in as Chris Style, so I have authenticated to the network. I do touch the server, so everything I do at this point using Business Connect, and this is important when you start talking about mobility, there's nothing I'm doing that's going to be left on this mobile device. Everything from here will be stored on the server. So all the information that I capture, all the information or the pictures that I take, all of that is going to be stored and kept on a server. There's no footprint or fingerprint left on my mobile device. So when we go taking that, so it doesn't matter if it's a personal device that you want to use or if it's a company device that's there. You put the application on it, that application just looks at things that happen inside the application. So it's very secure from that point. Now, what am I looking at here? First, Kofax Business Connect. This is something that can be customized. So this logo here can be your logo. So it can look like it's coming from you as we go through and you hand a mobile device to someone to sign as you want to go through it. As we talked earlier, I did an express print. This is the ability of doing touchless printing. So here I can tap the card reader with my mobile device if I don't have badges. That way I can use it that way. We also have the ability of printing out QR codes and placing those on printers, and you just scan the QR code. It knows exactly where that printer is located. It knows who you are, and it'll release your print jobs just by scanning that QR code. Now, when I check select activities, activities for us is a workflow. The server that I'm connected to is a demo server. It's a live demo server that we use here at Kofax. So I have a lot of different processes and workflows that have already been created. Some we've done just based off of customers' needs. Others we see a lot of the same tendencies over and over as we start looking at it. So we've built quite a few. The two that I want to focus on for today is this bottom one called document conversion. I'll come back to that one here in just a minute, but the other one is also going to be at the top, logistics. So I'm going to press logistics, and the delivery acceptance is the workflow I want to use. And what the delivery acceptance is, I'm a driver. I'm actually delivering a product that's from us. So I have the delivery form that we printed that's on the box that I'm going to be delivering out. On this box, we printed a barcode, and that barcode represents the customer name, the address. It entails all the information that as a driver I need to know without carrying a clipboard around or something else that tells me where I need to go. So in order to do a delivery ID, I could select inside that box and I can manually type that delivery ID in, or I can initiate the camera to the right, that box. I'm going to press that box. It's going to initiate the camera view. I'm covering up the barcode just so it doesn't read it, so you can kind of look and see what this is. So this is basically a card reader box that I'm delivering. So there's the information of where it's going. So what I will do is I'll move my finger. As soon as I scan over that barcode, you're going to see a form pop back up on my mobile device that's going to have that information entailed inside of it. So there's the delivery ID number, already pulled that. It's going to Campbell Higgins, first name John, the address, the postal code, location, signature, and so forth. So it pulls all that information directly out of that barcode. So as a driver, I don't have to worry about entering information in. I just scan a barcode. The system does all the work for me. When I deliver this, we talked about geotagging. It gives me the ability of a location. So it's using Google Maps in this case and says, all right, that's exactly where my home office is located. That's where that product was delivered. And I'm able to keep track of that as we go through. Now, one thing I will tell you, we're showing here longitude, latitude. We can change that to a street address. I have made that request inside for this demo, but Right now, they like to use longitude, latitude, so that's what you're seeing there. But we can break that down to a street address as it goes in. So like any other delivery that you've received, they may ask you to sign for something. So now I can do a digital signature. I will sign John's name and click save. It's like most things, they can't read it, so we do ask that you type in your information as well, and then click done. So now I have everything in here as far as the information that's needed. But now what I want to do is, because I made a delivery, I want to make sure that that delivery was not damaged, or if it was damaged, I want to be able to make a report of that. So I'm going to go to attachment down at the bottom, the paperclip. And from here, I can now utilize the camera on my phone. I can do a recording. I can capture sound with a microphone if there's a conference or an audio conversation that needs to be captured, or I can also just take a picture. So here I'm going to select take a picture. I'm just going to kind of scan this, doing OK, and I'm going to say use photo. So now I have that photo, but what I want to do now is, all right, this was in this, let's just say this particular package was damaged right here in this upper corner, um, and right over here there was damage marked on it. So I want to go ahead and note that. I'll save that image, and I'm going to click the check mark in the upper left hand corner. If there's other pictures I needed to take, I could have taken other pictures of it, but here I'm just going to use the one check mark. So now everything is completed. I'm now going to upload that document using the cloud in the upper right hand corner to go ahead and submit that on my workflow. So now, while this is processing through, again, it is on a live server, so it'll take just a minute to kind of walk through and go finish. So now, as far as the driver is concerned, I have delivered the package. I have received the signatures. I have everything completed. I'm now ready to go to my next delivery. The benefit here is, from a company standpoint, I can now go ahead and invoice that customer for that delivery. I don't have to wait for that driver to get back to bring his paperwork in, to turn the paperwork in so I can enter it in the system, because the workflow we have created is the ability of being able to um, take the workflow when I scan it and say, okay, I'm getting an email back in AP, which just arrived. So I'm going to open that up and I'll show that to you. So this email just came in, 7/13/238. Proof of delivery. This was by the driver of Chris Stiles. It went to John Campbell Higgins. Here's the road, and attached a copy on file of the signature. So now I can open this PDF file that was attached to. And if you notice here, now I've done a form overlay. And this form could look like any form. If you're using one today, we can replicate that on any type of form. But I was able to take all of that data that I captured and store that into a form now that has been not only emailed to our AP department, but also to the end user, to be able to put that in place so they have a record of everything that's gone with it. And included in that is a picture of the delivery. And there's my two circles of where the box may have been damaged as we've gone through it to make sure that's been noted. So that piece has now been taken care of. All right, now the next workflow I want to go through, I just want to kind of show you this. I want to open this up a little bit. So what I have done is I want to now show a little bit of the capability around taking, if I'm working from the remote office and I have a printer, but I don't have a scanner to go through. So let me bring my phone back up, go back out. So go down to the bottom of my workflows, document conversion down at the bottom. I'm going to select document conversion. And here I have the ability of all Office documents to PDF workflow, image files to Office documents, which is one I'll use, and then HTML or text to a PDF file. So a lot of conversions that we can do. So image file to an Office document. Why is this one important? Because hey, I could take a picture and I could send it in. I'll show you the difference that we're going to do with this one. So here, what type of format do I need this document to be sent in? Do I need a searchable PDF file? Do I need a Word document, an Excel document, or a PowerPoint? So for here, I'm going to click a Word document. Then I'm going to go to my attachments at the bottom, and I'm going to take a picture using my camera. So now I'm going to use this Word document that I printed, kind of take a picture of it. So there's the picture that I've taken. So I'm going to go ahead and use that photo. And I'm going to say OK. And then I'm going to use the cloud in the upper right hand corner and go ahead and submit that and upload that attachment. So as that document is being uploaded and being converted, the document I'd printed off is black and white, but it's this document. Whoop, sorry, I rolled that around sideways. It's this document that we want to kind of look at. So that's what the document's going to be. I mean, this one here is a PDF file. I can't do anything with it. I'm clicking in and I can't make any changes to it. That's coming through. But what we're going to have in just a moment when that workflow comes over, I now have it set up to when that document is taking a picture, that image is now routing back to my email address, and it's going to be converted to a Word document. So when I get that document, it'll be completely Word, and I'll be able to manipulate the document as needed. So the email just came in. Let me open that up. So it came to me from our mobile demo that's there. So that's the photo that it took. I'm gonna double click on that as a Word document. Like I've got to it. There we go. So there's the document that was just used, the photo and scanned in. So now here's the benefit of what I now have. One, because of the conversions, this is a picture. It noticed that that was a picture. So I'm able to, if I need to, I can just delete that image if I need. Also, when I come here, now it is a true Word document. I don't need all that typing in. Maybe the season came up and I need to reduce this. So now it's 139. One low season is 100. Super Savers 69. I can now take that document that was a PDF, that was basically an image using my mobile device, converted that to a Word document, and now I can repurpose that. Again, I could have done it as a searchable PDF, whatever the type format that you need. We have that ability of converting that, and that would show how we can start utilizing mobile devices, from the remote office, whether you're in the office. You're splitting time, however we can do different things, but in order to make sure that your job can still be done without looking at, supplying you with, a whole office of equipment as far as technology, we can utilize what you have by just using applications and software to be able to make those changes to it. So with that concludes my part of the presentation. So I will, Dwayne, I will convert that or send that back over to you
Okay.
to wrap up with.
All right. We have a question. Release print directly from personal phone has to have phone connected to same network as the MFP?
No, that's a great question, but it does not. What it does is for remote printing from your mobile device, as long as there's connectivity, so you've got Wi-Fi or cellular connectivity, there's a server that's back at the back at the office. We talk to that server. So as long as you're authenticating back through that, that's how that connectivity will work.
Great.
Great. Appreciate the question.
So are there and are there any additional questions from the attendees? All right. Looks like we've gotten everything. So I'd like to thank you guys for presenting today for the Did You Know webinar series. Everyone, I would also like to let you know that we do have webinars at 2 p.m. the rest of this week. That's Tuesday through Friday at 2 p.m. You can go to sisteloa.com and go to Did You Know and register for additional events coming this week. Again, thanks very much, Chris. Wonderful presentation. We look forward to doing this again. Thank you, everyone, for your attendance.
Great. Thank you so much.